Hello again, everyone. I'm Gary Gatto. Welcome to Race First coverage of Round 4 of the inaugural season of the ISRA Xfinity Series. We come to you tonight from Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile. Joining me, as always, in the booth is former Indy Fixed Series champion Mark Murray. So, Mark, it is back to the old grind now. The Indy week is over. All of our special presentations are over. Hopefully all of our practicing and tweaking is over. And we're kind of back to doing what we were doing here right before the month of May got here. And that's just watching the growth of this particular series as we've now moved on to the Xfinity portion. We're now 5 rounds in. We've seen a couple different winners. Points are tight. And kind of get into a bit of a stretch run here. It's going to be a complete run all the way to the end of the season. No more off weeks.
Yeah, and so there's Indianapolis, and then there's everything else, and now we enter into the everything else portion of our year, Gary, which means watching stock cars on a Monday night. In this particular case, Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile, not the Magic Mile, not the Milwaukee Mile, the Monster Mile, and so we're here at Dover, high banked as opposed to the flat the other two. This track also very narrow. Watch out for cars. Watch out for cars pushing up toward the fence at corner entry and getting extremely loose off. The transitions here are very difficult in the best of setups. These guys on fixed setups, so look for the rear end to start falling away. And this track is, as they say, self-cleaning. So any sort of an accident, avoidance is going to be key. Not only is it narrow, but your instincts are off, because here, everything, whenever there's a spin or any sort of an accident, it all flows to the bottom of the track. And so guys that are used to dodging low to avoid what's in front of them cannot do that here at Dover. The safe place in the event of things going awry. Things going awry is always at the top of the speedway here.
And yeah, maybe we need to talk to Pepto Joe about a little Pepto to get that taken care of for you. But we are almost done with qualifying here. Greg Evans just won and put a burner of a lap on there, and is now at the top with a 158.5 mile per hour lap over Goodman, who's next at a 157.8, Crow at a 157.6. And Rick D at the 157.5. So a lot of spread out. A lot of normally we're used to seeing kind of Lionheart drivers separated by a tenth, and now we're seeing a lot more spread out here. So I think we're going to see some different paces tonight once these cars get underway. But the timer is just gone to quadruple zeros, and I guess it's time to get in tonight's starting lineup. Just 1 second. There we go. I did not do my due diligence on pre-show preparation today. There's just I think I tallied it up. I think I in 2 days or less than 24 hours, I think I did 10 hours worth of streaming on Friday and Saturday. So I'm still kind of recovering, but we're lining up to go racing. Let's hit the music and let's get in tonight's starting lineup.
No worries, Gary. On the pole with a lap of 23.133, Greg Evans. Outside of the front row, Michael Goodman. Sam Crow will start in the inside of row 2. Rick D on the outside. Chris Reagan makes up the inside of row 3 with a host from the most, Mike Rigney, to his outside. Dean Darth Maul is going to start 7th with Brian Grandin in 8th. Say Haley Lewis Hayes 9th. Matty Wagner, the stock car ace, as I'm going to now call him, stock car ace Matty Wagner, will be 10th. Lionel Callisto, the final car to set a time. He must have had an accident or something of some variety on his qualifying run, because I don't think that 3 minutes 19.8 seconds is all of the pace in that number 2 machine, but he'll be 11th. Pepto Joe Flanagan, Hugo Gallows, George Alonso, Alex Guyon, and Richie Hearn will round out the field. None of those cars set a time. So that is your starting lineup. 16 cars signed in for this event.
That might be the perfect number of cars for this track, at least certainly with this group. They do a good job at keeping it off one another. And we are now Moving on out.
See these cars get lined up. Something else I didn't mention in my little pre-race briefing, getting on and off of pit road here is going to be a challenge. I think these guys can do anywhere between 55 and 65 laps, depending on how much they want to stand on it, Gary. But it is very, very tough to get it on and off of pit road here, especially on. The apron is extremely wide. It's also very difficult to enter off of turn 4. And so if there are going to be hijinks, I almost look for them. I don't necessarily suspect that these guys are going to have difficulty with the racing itself, but on and off of pit road here is always an adventure. It's just because of the way the apron is and the transitions. Pace car is off, and we're coming to green.
Yeah, delayed green. They decided to take a lot of time to get the wound up for that one. But we start off right where we ended off last time. Greg Evans in the lead.
Yeah, not surprising. Noted stock car driver. He's going to jump out to the lead. They're 2 wide. Michael Goodman and Sam Crow will fight over second. Rick D is an interested observer in the fourth as they file into turn number 3. The laps here, Gary, are going to go extremely fast. Rick D back to 6th already, 31.044 in that first lap. We're going to see a race pace here somewhere in the mid 23 second bracket. It's going to fall off probably into the 25s and maybe into the 26s. But even then, barring cautions, we're going to see an end to this 150 laps inside of an hour. Assuming they stay green. I mean, this is going to go very, very, very fast.
I'm looking at for sure. And then we're looking at about 2 stops. 2 stops.
That's what I figured. And as we've seen, the tire strategy here is always going to be variable. You're going to have some guys short pit it. You're going to have some guys go long and try to save those fresh tires at the end. The number of sets in this race shouldn't necessarily be a problem. They've got 3. So almost 1 extra should there be a late race caution, but definitely the point at which you stop is going to be key.
And once again, a lot of these guys, even though we're getting more stock car drivers in the lineup, a lot of these guys are Lionheart holdouts. Lionheart, bit of a sabbatical this season or this year. Nothing nefarious is going on. Just been a long 10 years for those guys, for those admins. Needed a year off. So a lot of the guys have come here to race, and you're putting IndyCar drivers in a stock car cockpit, and what you end up having is a lot of IndyCar races. We got some lap traffic kind of starting to come back to the leaders now.
Yeah, and we've had some major position changes up front. Michael Goodman has gone to the lead. Chris Reagan second. Greg Evans has fallen to 3rd and makes Sam Crow 4th. So already shuffling a little bit at the front of the field. I can't help but think Greg Evans is kind of playing possum here. 2 tenths off the lead, maybe saving his tires a little bit there. The rest of the field strung out single file. We kind of got the cams at the distance here, just trying to catch all the action. And we actually do have Pepto Joe's kind of coming back here a little bit to Goodman, but he might be on his own pace. That's what we're getting ready to say. But we got a lot of IndyCar pilots in here that definitely, when they run these cars, you could take the car driver out of the IndyCar, but you can't take the IndyCar out of the driver, as they like to say. A lot of these guys are going to try to do IndyCar type pit strategies, fuel saving, tire saving, you name it, to try to get an edge on everyone else. Yeah, and that's just the nature of it, right? That's the nature of who we are. You're never going to be able to take take that out of us. It's very much a part of your being, right? Save fuel, save tires from the drop of the hat. We did have a car toward the back, and I don't know if that was if that was George, Alex Guyon, or the host with the most, Mike Rigney. But somebody got in a wall a little bit over there, coming off of turn number 4 just a moment ago, and that is going to happen more times tonight than we can count. It's not going to cause an accident per se, but when you come off of turns 2 and 4 here, it really, two things happen.
Yeah.
One, the banking falls away from you, and so it wants to make a tight car very loose for a minute. And the other thing is, the track gets really narrow. Other than Darlington, South Carolina, this track probably has the most narrow and abrupt corner exit that I can think of on an oval track. I mean, it's like you feel like you're right there, and all of a sudden, bam, there's the wall.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up everything that I've ever driven here. Mainly Indy cars, believe it or not, and trucks. You run out of room really, really quick on the exit of these corners. Let's take a look here.
So what you want to do is
go right ahead. Continue.
What you want to do, if you kind of watch Michael Goodman, he's got the line going. You want to kind of enter high, go to the bottom, let the car drift up, and then almost pull it down to the bottom at corner exit. Right? It's a late apex, and it's a really late gasser getting back to the throttle here, because you don't want to do anything that can knock you up into that wall. And my goodness, Chris Reagan got really close.
Yeah, he did.
But you can kind of watch that when we run the Indy cars here, which is flat ridiculous 18-second laps on a mile.
200 mile per hour laps, yeah.
Yeah, 200 mile per hour on a mile. When we run Indy cars here, that is much more severely pronounced. You'll see guys go all the way up to the wall in the middle of the corner and then pull it all the way down to the bottom on exit, just to avoid that wall as much as possible. Also, thank you to Julian Altena for reminding Gary to update the banners at the top. Definitely appreciate that, Julian. Always a sharp eye on things. Forerunner Julian Altena joining us in the chat this evening.
Yeah, he had to make up a new one for me. I was running a kind of an older legacy one, but we're now more modern on the look up top. Of course, we do want
sharp eye as always.
Of course, we do want to thank our friends at Whiplash Sim Cams for being the exclusive camera provider for Race First for all of our races for the remainder of this year. And we want to remind anybody to get the most out of their cams and the most out of their iRacing experience with their cams. Check out Whiplash Sim Cams. The links are in the description for their Twitter and Facebook feeds. Follow and like them. Watching Chris Reagan at the moment. It's about the closest battle on the racetrack, to be honest with you.
It really is. The front two have broken away. And then there's a second back to Greg Evans. Everybody else, Gary, really, 2 and 3 tenths apart. No real battles. Pepto Joe Flanagan, by the way, disconnected and reconnected, but he is 2 laps in arrears. So
I hate that.
He's going to need a little bit of help. Yes, Julian, we're quite modern here at Raceverse. Thank you. But we're going to see, Pepto Joe's going to need a little bit of help. But all it takes is one guy to spin at quarter exit, and he's right back in the thick of it with 16 cars for sure.
Here's the closest battle, actually. We got Sam Crow, who's in a new paint job, like it. He's right there with Dean Darth Maul. This is separated by about 2 tenths. I think this really is the closest battle on the racetrack right now. Go back and let's take a look at Say Hey Lewis Hayes. He is working on the high side, trying to get some ground on Richie Earn.
Yeah, and look, I mean, that's brave. He's still pulling it right down to the bottom on corner exit, but he is definitely letting that car feed another lane at least up in the middle of the corner. Most guys you'll see they'll go in, they'll kind of go up to lane 2 and come back down. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, he's going up to about lane 2.5 or lane 3 there, and really working a high side. He's doing 2 things with that, Gary. The first, he's trying to, I think, save his right front tire. Right, when you go high like that, you drive the car more off the right rear, so he could be doing that. The other thing is, I think he's saving gas, because when you run the high line, you're out of the throttle a little bit. Now, Matty Wagner, the stock car ace, he is looking to drive by Say Hey Lewis. He's going to dive the bottom in turn number 3, Not going to quite. Is he going to clear him?
Not yet.
Not quite.
Yet.
We'll get
Probably
we'll get
next
him
time,
corner.
next corner.
Next time, and say hey, Lewis Hayes is not going to fight that.
So now is now I can bring out the telestrator because we got two cars here. I'm going to try to zoom out a little bit. Can't quite get as far out as I want to. No. All right, so in this picture here, one of these drivers is an IndyCar driver, and one of them is a stock car driver. So if I have to circle the IndyCar driver, who am I circling?
The number 38 of Say Hey Lewis Hayes.
Although he very impressively, I mean, let's talk about Hayes here. The joke was it's obviously Richie Hearn, and then Matt Wagner is here. I will circle him on there on the telestrator because that's what I wanted to use with the telestrator. He is a stock car driver. But I heard from Hayes in his very first I think he was a fixed 500, he said, finished 5th. So congratulations to Say Hey Lewis Hayes in his first Indy 500. So before this, he had a little bit of time in the DW12. And this was really his first experience with the IR18. And he goes out and puts in the top 5.
Yeah, and look, all of these guys have that mentality that makes great 500-mile racers. They don't get involved in a lot of the nonsense. They know to stay away from certain people. They race the pavement, as we're watching Say Hey Lewis Hayes and Matty Wagner do right now. They race the pavement and not each other unless it's appropriate to do so. And all of those things bode really, really well for guys doing well in the Indy 500. Speaking of Indy 500s and guys that we should have seen race in Indianapolis but didn't, I got to give a shout out to the stock car driver Matty Wagner, stock car ace Matty Wagner. The Ryan Newman paint scheme on that Ford is spot on, Gary. Spot on. Love it. The Rocket Man from South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah, your neck of the woods.
Live in that area. Yeah, I live in that area myself. Always good to see a Ryan Newman reference. It's not retired, by the way. He's out running modifieds.
I think I saw a YouTube video of him getting in a fight with another driver here recently in the garage area. But former Brickyard winner, former Daytona 500 winner, former Penske driver, should have probably have done some IndyCar races, but he's getting to that point where this might be a little too old for. Just like Murtaugh says in A Lethal Weapon, it gets a little too old for that bleep.
Well, and not only too old, but I don't know if anybody here has actually met Ryan Newman. He is a big dude. Like, Purdue could have used him at middle linebacker. He's a big guy, and not necessarily tall, but very, very
thick,
well built.
Yep. Chris Reagan is holding up a whole line full of cars here. Oof.
Yeah, and they're getting antsy behind him. We're seeing Matty Wagner dive to the bottom. Richie Hearn's going to try to follow that through. It's really easy to burn your tires here. Really, really easy. And we're going to see Wagner go through, and now Richie Hearn's coming through. So these guys that were kind of playing possum at the beginning, they're starting to come back. Greg Evans has moved back into second place, disposed of Sam Crow, as has Dean Darth Maul. He's moved into third. The two leaders, about 2.5 seconds clear of Maul. And really from there, you've got another second or so back to Sam Crow, and then same to Lionel Callisto. The battle is Rick D being caught by stock car ace Matty Wagner, Richie Hearn. Chris Reagan's headed for the back. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is starting to come forward. Mike Rigney has dropped 5 spots. He's now 11th. So kind of keep an eye on that. Don't know if he had some trouble earlier, if he's just making laps.
In your opposite direction, it's Richie Hearn up 8 in 8th right here. So while the elevator's going down for one, going up for the other. Another shout out we should give out is Lionel Callisto. He's up 6 spots, which is to nobody's surprise. The defending Truck Series champion. Also looking at the points lead here. Speaking of the points, let's bring that up really quick before we get to these first round of pit stops. Here we go. Goodman and Wagner are tied for the points lead, and Lionel Callisto 1 point behind, and then one more point behind Callisto is Sam Crow. So we have the top four separated by just 2 points.
Speaking of Michael Goodman, he's fixing to have trouble in the form of Greg Evans arriving right on the rear bumper of Goodman's machine. Evans has been running him down 50 hundredths to a tenth a lap, and he is right there now. So we're looking at having a battle for the lead here, probably the next lap or two. You're going to see Greg Evans slam that number 7 into the low side of the track, and Michael Goodman, discretion the better part of the valor, lets him go. New leader, Greg Evans. And I am shocked, Gary. I am shocked to find gambling going on in this casino. Bring me my winnings. Greg Evans back to the lead at Dover.
And we are kind of about 20 laps or so from when we think the initial point for pit stops. It could just be people go 50-50 and done.
You know, it could be. The fall off has been rather severe. Greg Evans running around about a second less than he was at the start of this race. Purple lap to Michael Goodman at a 23.6.
Yep.
He's running he's at 25 seconds flat, give or take a tenth. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see what the fall off is from lap 40 to 50. Are the tires going to continue to go away from these guys? Are they going to start? Are they going to hit that edge or hit that cliff and just that's what they are? Sometimes stock car tires do that. IndyCar tires do that. Or is there another bottom to drop out? Is there another bottom to drop out here? I'm looking around to find a battle. Probably the next one's going to be Matt Wagner and Rick D. Matty Wagner, the stock car ace, is catching Rick D. Fallis about a tenth a lap, and he's been doing so consistently. Half a second between the 12 and the 0.3 as we watch him run here.
Well, you're guaranteed to see more green flag racing here than you did at Detroit this weekend.
I'll tell you what a masterclass from Scott Dixon, by the way. I had a thing I had to do Sunday, so I left the house for a minute. When I left, Colton Herta was leading from the pole. When I came back, they were showing Colton Herta sliding through some various runoff area, as he often does when he has a fast car. And I looked up and Scott Dixon was leading, and I said, he is inevitable.
All is right with the world right there.
He is inevitable. Matt Wagner, by the way, the stock car race is now right on the rear deck lid.
We are riding inside with Matt. Matt, wave to the camera, Matt. Wave to the Matt, we know you're listening. Wave to the camera. Matt.
Does he have Jocko Flacco in there with him? The monkey?
It might be hanging off camera. We don't know.
or is there a cougar or some sort of a... You could have the cougar from Ricky Bobby. I bet you would have given anything you wouldn't have heard a Jocko Flacco reference tonight.
Well, I want to know what if he has a cougar in the car. Why is he driving around with an older woman? Anyways. Let's do a rundown to the field here. He's passing to the inside.
There you go. Clear. So next up on the hit parade for the stock car ace, Matty Wagner, is going to be Sam Crow. And just like Rick D. Fowles, the stock car ace is about a tenth quicker. Problem for that is Sam Crow is 1.6 seconds up the road. So he's going to have a little bit more work to do before he gets to old Sam. Go ahead, Gary, with your thoughts.
Let's get right back here. Next battle on the racetrack, Callisto and Dean Darth Maul.
Yes, they are. Lionel Callisto has tracked down Dean Darthmall. He's been consistently faster. This is a theme we've seen. Wagner and Callisto going to the back on a short run, and then long green flag run, as these ISRA races tend to be. Look who shows up at the front. Lionel Callisto has come from deeper than most after he set a qualifying time of over
18
minutes.
miles per hour, yeah.
Hey, I think I could have ridden my bicycle around here that fast. But he's not riding a bicycle anymore. He is right on the back of that 31, looking to take third off of Dean Darthmall here.
All right, so do we see anyone head to pit road? Looks like we do have one retirement. Hugo Gallis is retired at lap 31. Unfortunately, his day is done early. So that gives one position to Pep Dojo. Here goes Callisto to the inside of Dean Darthmall.
Yeah, Dean's car just stepped out big time off of turn 4 over there and gave Lionel
Well, to
Callisto
continue with the pun, his
run.
car is a bit on the dark side right now as Lionel Callisto moves on by to the third spot, trying to run down now Michael Goodman.
Careful there, Dean. Apron bad. Apron bad. I don't think the car is dark so much as it may be going over to the lighter side. And by lighter side, I mean he's got to be seeing the cords off of those rear tires.
Okay, there he is. He is going to be the... Oh, he comes up off. Oh, no. Oh. He's trying to bring it down the pit road quickly. He's got to get it down to... I got to look at my notes.
35.
It says 55 in the track notes, but I think you're right. It's 35.
It's 35. He's come down pit road. He's pancaked the left side of the car. The stock car ace, Matty Wagner, now needs a clean pair of shorts. But Dean Darthmall gets himself into pit lane. He's going to pull it in the box. Remember, they do have a fast repair here if they elect to have
Got
it.
a couple more on pit road toward the back. Crow's one of them.
Say hey, Lewis Hayes.
Crow Hayes also on pit road.
Yeah, these guys are wanting off of those tires. They're wanting off these tires pretty badly. We see Dean Darthmall rejoin the fray. If he used his fast repair, he may have the left side of that Toyota is back into fine form. Dean's going to get it off the warm-up lane and rejoin the fray right behind Lionel Callisto.
And Sam Crow now gets excellent shots from the drone in the pits. Man.
Yeah, those cameras are something else, Gary. It's not going to be too much longer. These guys are almost forcing the hand of the guys that are still out. Dean just drove by Lionel Callisto like he was driving a locomotive instead of a race car out there, and he has waved adios. Pulled him by half a second on that lap, and that's with Michael Goodman in front of him. Goodman also on the old tires. Callisto, by the way, has cut Goodman's advantage to 2.4 seconds. Matty Wagner now 3 seconds behind Callisto. He has obviously made it past the Pro because Sam's coming to pit lane. But looking at the lap times for Dean Darthmall, 24.2. Greg Evans that last time by 24.8. Second place Michael Goodman 25 flat. So 0.8 of a second to a second a lap is what those tires are worth.
Rick D on pit road, and that Aquafresh throwback of his, I like it. Also on pit road is Rigney, the 00, rolling down painfully slow here. Painful slow.
Little Buckshot Jones action.
Yeah.
The Aquafresh machine.
Yeah. I just remember the machine. I couldn't remember if it was Buckshot or not.
It's Buckshot Jones. I just believe I saw Sam Crow flatten the right side of his car off of turn number 4 there. Again, very easy to do. So who you got in the dental products cars? You got the racing dentist, Dr. Jack Miller, in the Crest Indy car. Or you got Buckshot Jones in the Aquafresh stock car. They even sell that stuff anymore?
Aquafresh, yes.
I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while. My kids all use the watermelon flavored kids toothpaste, whatever it is.
Watermelon toothpaste. Ugh.
They're interesting creatures, Gary.
George banging off the wall right in front of Sam Crow, or riding on the hood of Crow as he is running down the ball. He does have a little banged up on the right side, but he seems to be okay.
Not the first time George has scuffed the fence in the number 6, but he's still out there, still going. He's 2 laps down.
So yet to stop is Evans, Callisto, Wagner, Reagan, George, Michael Goodman on pit road right now.
Yeah. I think Evans, Callisto, Wagner, Reagan, these guys, Wagner's calling out he's going to pit, I think.
Rick D with the purple lap, 155 flat.
23.656 seconds. So he's now 1.3 seconds faster. If you are still on your old tires here, you better come to pit lane for
time
a
to come
pair
off.
of shoes.
Yeah, time to come off.
Yeah. Goodman saw it. He's in. Callisto's in. The stock car ace, Matty Wagner's coming down. That leaves Evans and Reagan as the last 2 holdouts.
And we got...
Don't forget George Gonzalez.
Yeah, Reagan is P4 right now. As we are 3 wide. Hang on, guys. Oh, Crow's like, thank you very much. I'm just going to slide on through here.
What a beautiful piece of driving. Chris Reagan recognized that situation and got the heck out of the way. So did Brian Grandin. Wonderful job from those two to recognize you got 2 fast guys on fresh tires. Probably time to exercise a little bit of discretion. Now those cars are a lap down. Greg Evans now on pit lane.
Leaders on pit road, right?
Yep.
So Reagan's going to stay out and go long. He might Does you think he has enough? Well, wait a minute. Is he coming to pit road now? Rigney, 155.5, purple lap. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was going to try to stretch it for another 8 more, 10 more, 12 more laps to get to the 75 mark.
You know, I would have thought it might have been a possibility, Gary. But then I couldn't work out in my head anyway to get past about 65, and that's where he's at, 63.
Yeah, so, no, you called it. You
didn't need it. You need a little bit of yellow.
Yeah.
And as we know,
this is not going to help Greg. Greg's got Pepto Joe right in front of him. They both come off the pit road at the same time. Pepto has not been carrying the same pace as Lionel Callisto, a 156.9 now. These new tires are coming in, and this is not helping Greg with a slower car in front of him. Or I should say slower, just the car not today with not the pace that he's used to.
No, and we're seeing green laps all over the place. We just saw one from Michael Goodman.
Yeah, and Goodman. Goodman. And I got too much crowd in the way of my drone here. I'm trying to get to another cam. All right.
So all this shakes out. Dean Darth Maul and Sam Crow are leading the race now. Greg Evans 4 seconds back. Michael Goodman 5. That's the difference in 10 to 15 laps of short pitting. However, more green laps from Greg Evans and Michael Goodman. They are catching these boys in a hurry. 4/10 to half a second. That last lap, purple lap from green lap from Michael Goodman again. 23.458. So those boys are getting serious on their new tires. They're going to be there.
Let's see how Greg Evans does this time by. I thought he'd get close to a purple lap. 23.597. 23.692. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're getting after it though. They're going to catch these boys here pretty quick.
Wagner with his fast lap that time by 23.694. So D. Darth Maul was one of the first to come down pit road, and that seems to have paid dividends at least a little early here. He is now 17 laps at his current stint. Crow right behind him, 16 laps at his current stint. So these guys that spit it early have a bit of a cushion over Evans by about 2.5 seconds, give or take.
Yeah, it's gonna. What we're watching here are the guys that stopped later going to use up their tires before they catch Dean and Sam? That's, to me, that's what I'm watching. They're still catching them, still anywhere between 4 and 6 tenths a lap quicker, but that advantage is slowly starting to fall away, Gary. Slowly starting to fall away. Sam Crow 24.3 that last time, Dean 24.2, 23.6 and 23.8 for Greg and Michael, and so the advantage is still there, but as the laps tick away, it's getting less and less. Is it going to be gone by the time they get there? Although they're going to get there in another 4 or 5 laps probably anyhow.
And as a new feature on the overlay, we'll have an instant pop-up now when the purple lap is turned. So we will always know when someone turns the purple lap.
Absolutely. Right now, that's Lionel Callisto, as you see with the purple position indicator next to the number 2 machine.
Go ride with Greg Evans on the roof of the Freightliner Camaro. He has all sorts of traffic in front of him right now that's just really killing him. He's going to inside of Crow. He's going to clear Crow. Now he's got Pepto Joe in front of him. He's going to take a look to the inside of Pepto Joe. Nope, not going to pass. But he sees Dean Darth Maul.
And remember, those guys...
Go ahead.
Those guys pitted together, so they're on same tires. They're same tires, and Pepto Joe, he wants to get up here and
Brandon
get by.
Graydon.
He wants to...
Brandon Graydon.
Pepto Joe wants to get up here and get by Dean.
Yeah, he very much so. Gets back, get back a lap, but got Brandon Graydon, who has in his first race with us, so welcome, first of all. And he moves at a high side. He's back at 11th. And that moves Evans on up now. So now we got 2 cars with fresh tires versus Carr with 23 lap old tires. And he is there. He's alongside. And just like that, he's gone. He gone.
Yep. Adios, amigos.
Yep.
Dean gives way to Greg Evans. We're going to see Michael Goodman get there and make pretty short work of Dean, I would suspect, in the next couple of laps. And then, how hard is Greg Evans going to press Pepto Joe here? Pepto Joe made the pass on the leader. He's now 2 laps down. How bad does Greg Evans want to put him 3 laps down?
All right. Well, let's take care of some business here. If you enjoyed Race First coverage of the ISRA Xfinity Series and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future Race First iRacing broadcasts, which includes this week. This is a pretty empty week because this is week 13 of the service. So no IndyCar Oval Series, but we will have the IIS at 2 p.m. on Saturday at Road America, which should be a much better race than what everyone saw on Sunday at Detroit. And then on Thursday at 8:50 p.m., we will be restarting the stretch run for the Formula Indy Series. We'll be making our first ever visit to Mugello. And then this weekend at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, we'll head to Fontana one more time with the Dark Horse DW12 Series. There's a number of drivers in today's lineup that'll be in that lineup as well, so welcoming them over to Dark Horse. And that Dark Horse has only 2 more rounds to go with Fontana, and then they'll finish up the 16th with the 500-miler at Indy, and that's really going to be probably our last Indy race for at least a month. At least a month. I hate to say this, but I'm kind of spent out on Indy for a while.
I think I'm probably the same way. I love Indianapolis so much, but we run it enough that there are times where you think, man, could we do something different today? Dean just got in the wall a little bit. The other thing is there might be some guys in a booth in that Dark Horse race. I might have to wheel out the Race First American for those 2. Those are a couple of my favorite tracks, buddy.
Yeah. It's a good group over there at Dark Horse. Check them out. And I'm currently talking with them about renewing for their Season 8. So all good there. And been talking with the good guys at DFIS about renewing for their next season, Season 7. I think that's going on well there. And then we got a whole host of races with the DOVER series coming up. So plenty of IndyCar style racing coming up, but of course we got the Xfinity series here about for the next 10 weeks consecutive right here on Monday nights here on Race First here, the ISRA. Currently watching Dean Darth Maul, see how he recovers from banging the wall. Doesn't seem to have too much worse for wear, at least when it comes to his livery on the side.
No, he's looking good. Lionel Callisto, by the way, has moved past Michael Goodman in second.
Yes, he has.
And is currently the fastest car on the racetrack. Is Lionel Callisto. He is chasing down our leader, Greg Evans. The stock car ace, Matty Wagner, is moved up to 7th. And he's going to be in a battle with Rick D here within the next moment or two over 6th. Next up on his hit parade would be Sam Crow and Dean. And so going to be watching Wagner move forward as he's on those fresher tires as well. Hummers and goers. Always interesting to see here in ISRA. Lionel Callisto just about came right into the wall there. I don't know if he hit it, but he got awful close.
We were watching, yeah.
Kicked up the dust. My goodness. You play with the throttle so much here. It's almost like you ever see the video with them showing Ayrton Senna and his telemetry trace and how it looked like an EKG?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was constantly stabbing the throttle and getting off of it, trying to get traction in those 1,500 horsepower ridiculous turbos. That's almost how you drive through the corner here. You're on the gas, you're off it, you're stabbing at it the whole time. Especially on old tires, man. You just lose all kinds of grip. Lose all kinds of grip.
Now, speaking of tires, those that pitted at 50, they're about 14 laps away from making their next stop.
And what's going to tell me about that strategy, if it works or not, watching Wagner and Callisto, they've passed those guys already. And Callisto has drawn out a huge advantage, something like 2.3 seconds over Goodman, and then it's like 5 seconds back to Dean, who was the first of Dean and Sam Crow are the two contenders that did the short pit.
Yeah,
but they're like 9 seconds behind the lead, and so if Callisto and Wagner and these guys can get back by them before they make their next stops, I don't want to say it's over for them, but it's going to be a pretty tough hill to climb, knowing that the guys that stopped at 60, they're going to stop at 120, and they're not really going to lose all that much off of their tires in that last 30-lap run either.
Let's go through the field really quick. Greg Evans is your leader. There he is right there. Started from the pole, is currently leading from that spot. Did fall back a little bit early in the first run, and then once the tires came back to him, he moved forward pretty quickly. Lionel Callisto up 9 spots. This is his typical MO, up to P2, looking to extend his points lead if this race were to finish right now. But that's why we actually run the races. We don't do it on paper, because we never know what happens here. So Callisto doing pretty good at lap 90. Another 60 to go for him to bring it home. Michael Goodman, P3. Looking at another good, solid finish here for him as well. Dean Darth Maul. He has been fast all day, but those tires are what do we get? 40 laps old. 40 laps old for Dean Darth Maul. Wagner around Crow, we just missed that battle. Wagner coming forward now. Wagner, 29 laps under his current stint, passing Crow at 39. So, again, we've talked about it earlier in the broadcast. Later in the run, these cars seem to come better to Matt, and he manages to progress a little bit higher in the standings as these tires get worn out. So move Matt up to 5th. Sam Crow now 6th. Rick D in the weekly top 40. He is back in 7th, right there in the 03 Aqua Fresh throwback. Richie Hearn has been fairly quiet since coming up 8 spots to 8th. Hasn't moved much beyond that spot, but has brought the 4D Racewear car up into the top 10. Right behind him is Rigney in 9th, and Say Hey Lewis Hayes, showing that that top 5 in Indianapolis, not a fluke. He is in the top 10 here at Dover, as we are now about 6 laps away from when we think the next round of pit stops are possibly starting.
Yeah, and you're going to be about 6, 7 laps away from Dean and Sam coming onto pit road, watching the stock car race. Matty Wagner work over Sam,
Dean
Darth. Yeah, I get trouble telling my stock cars apart here. But he's pulling right up on the back. The best is long gone off the tires on the 31, and he knows it. He just kind of pulls over and lets Matt go on about his way. But those guys are going to be hitting pit road here pretty shortly, and when they do, right? Dean had a bit of an episode on his last sojourn into the pit lane. Can he avoid that? I mean, it cost him some time for sure.
The Adventures of Darth Maul.
That's right. I like that paint scheme though.
I do.
I don't know what car that's off of. I don't know what car that's off of. It's got to be a throwback of some variety, but I like it. Don't know how I feel about it on a Toyota, because it certainly wouldn't have been on that, but cool looking car nonetheless. You still have Texaco Haviland stuff, or is all that Chevron now?
Geez, it's been a while. I can't tell you.
At one time, Texaco was one of the only brands that had a presence in every state, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a Texaco station here in central Indiana. Maybe no 1 or 2.
There were none in southern Indiana. There were only 2 or 3 in Kentucky, and one of them was in Owensboro, right near the drugstore that I ran for a number of years after college. So that was always an interesting sight to see, because a lot of people don't know this about southern Indiana, but national brands historically don't do very well down there. So, like, other than Walmart, for example, they've clung to certain things. The Donut Bank, if you're ever down in the Evansville area, go get yourself a Donut Bank donut, because they basically ran Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme out of town.
That's because Krispy Kremes aren't good. As simple as that.
Well, you probably get Longs, right? Is that your poison? Longs donuts?
No, Longs isn't very convenient for where we're at here. And here comes Dean to pit road. So right on schedule. Taylor's Bakery is a little bit more convenient for us. Oh, slides in, but he gets in there. Hopefully not a speedy belly.
He made it down to the speed limit, but my goodness. We've got more takers. Richie Hearn coming in behind him.
This should be their final stops.
Yeah, this is going to be it for these guys. They committed to the 50-50-50, and they're running it exactly. Dean Mall stopped at lap 50.
Now, and Richie needs to activate that fast repair to get his sheet metal banged out on his right side. We'll see if he hits the stall. Does he have that checkbox? No, I don't know. It might not just bother him to say, hey, he's on pit road. Yep.
Well, and they'll naturally fix some of that just as part of the pit stop. You know?
Yeah, we saw some of it get fixed, but doesn't seem to be that much of a concern to him.
Well, you want to save it. You know what I mean? You want to save it just because, if there's a major smash or something and your car gets really hurt, well, if you use it up on something minor, Richie Hearn's still.
Well, I would go ahead and use this because this would be my last scheduled stop. Now, then I would do everything possible in the next 50 laps to not get into the next big one, and knowing that I actually have some tires left in the pits that I could use. So if I had to come down pit road one more time, I'm good to go. If I need to race somebody at the end, but Richie Hearn done with his pit stop. At 101, Dean Mall done with his pit stop. Alex Gillian done with his pit stop at 101 as well. Say hey, Lewis Hayes done at 101. So the final stops are occurring here. Now keep in mind our leader Greg Evans went 64. So that should be 128 before he comes in. And I would imagine it's going to be a short fill and 4 tires for that Camaro.
Yeah, short fill does 2 things. One, less time on pit road, but we've said it how many times. You don't have any adjustments in these cars. These aren't Indy cars. No weight jacker. No anti-roll bars. The Cup cars did have anti-roll bars at one time, but they got rid of the adjustability on those. Xfinity cars, the only thing these guys can touch is the brake bias. So really, the only way that you have to adjust these cars is the
Rick D on
fuel
pit road
level.
Yep.
And honestly, as iRacing setups go, traditionally, the smaller the amount of gas you put in on new tires, it's going to feel that much better. And
Sam
it's not going to wear
Crow
the tires
in the
out
pit.
as much.
Yep. You're right.
As a rule of thumb, some of them aren't that way, as I've discovered. Usually when I want to short fill it, it's the setup that doesn't work well on light fuel, but that's a whole different matter.
At 106 for Sam Crow, his final stop. Back to our leader.
Do you recall what the margin was the last time Dean Darthmall short pitted? What him and Sam Crow came out at? Although
No.
Crow went 5 laps longer. It was something like 5 seconds, maybe. I want to say.
Okay. Nah, I did
I'm just
not pay
curious
attention.
because I'm curious because of two things. The first is they're going to get double the advantage this time if things play. Instead of 12 laps, they're going to have 20. They're going to have 24 laps of fresh tire running. So I'm just interested to see how far ahead
Look
Dean
at
is.
Sam Crow just cruise by this traffic with these new tires.
Yeah, it turned you into Superman, brother. I mean, it does. It's almost like you got an extra 50 horsepower just by. But the thing about Sam is he's 7 seconds behind Dean now. As opposed to being right together as they were before, he's 7 seconds in arrears. Now a lot of that's got to be down to Dean's hyper aggressiveness getting on the pit road.
He got on very good this time. I think he learned a lot from that first attempt.
Well, he didn't hit the wall for one thing.
Well, we are in the middle of
is a little bit faster.
Yeah, we is. We're watching right now. We are in the middle of overlapping pit stops. You're just joining us. This is race first coverage of the ISRA Xfinity Series coming to you from Dover, Delaware. We're home of the Monster Mile here, where we completed 113 of 150 laps. You're enjoying race first coverage of the night's race and would like to monetarily support us. We are doing this for free for the ISRA, so we are accepting your donations. So if you have not done so already, if you're a participant in the league, first time here, check us out, like the coverage, whatever, feel free to hit our GoFundMe link in the description and send a donation if you'd like. We realize times are tough, so anything you can send us, we do really appreciate. So thank you very much, and while you're at it, don't forget to smash like, click the bell, so you're reminded on more of Race vs. Other iRacing broadcasts. Let's see, week 1 is coming up next week for season, season 3 of 24. And so we're going to open up promptly on the IndyCar Oval Series at Legacy, Michigan for round 1 of season 3 of 24, and also round 1 of the Race First Triple Crown Challenge, which pays absolutely nothing, but we're going to advertise it anyways.
I've got my mouth guard ready for the bumps at Michigan. So 2 versions of Michigan. There's the new scan, which is smooth. There is the legacy scan, which will take the fillings out of your teeth. We're going to the bumpy one, so that should be fun. I was watching Rick D and Richie Hearn.
Yeah, let's go back and take a look at that.
Slice through traffic.
And they're doing it right now. Here you go. And Wagner coming up to speed.
Yeah, I think he's decided to split the difference. So he went long the first time. Now he's going to split the difference and kind of go halfway. Again, we're anticipating Greg Evans at 128. Matt Wagner, the stock car, is going to stop, and Rigney is on pit road. Michael Goodman on pit road. Wagner and these guys have decided to kind of split the difference. So they're short pitting Evans, but they're going long on Crow and Hearn, essentially. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Evans in under attack right now from Maul with new tires, and I don't know how heavy Maul's going to try to attack him here. Oh yeah, here he starts getting a good run in the middle of the corner. Gonna take a look to the inside, going into one, and gets the pass done.
Just like that. Just like that. Still to stop, Greg Evans, Lionel Callisto, Dean Maul. Dean Darth Maul has moved the short pit strategy up to 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively. That's Maul, Pro, and Rick D. And then Richie Hearn has come to 6th.
Yep.
Matty Wagner, the stock car ace.
Just around Hearn.
He went long. Yeah, so he's going around Hearn. He is on absolute sticker tires. He stopped at 115.
Michael Goodman, 157.5 purple lap.
Now that guy is after. And he is right on the heels of Matty Wagner. He's about a second behind Wagner, who's not exactly slow poking it around here either. Wagner just goes with a green lap, 23.631. And so these guys are getting after it now. They're on those new tires, and they know it's time to go. You got to get all you can get because when Evans and that crew stops, they're going to have the advantage. So the time to go right now. For Wagner and Goodman, the time to go is now.
So going long will be...
And they're going another green lap.
Yeah, right now it's Evans, Callisto, and Reagan are the three. Also, Anzaldo's out there. They are all going on. Anzaldo's on pit road right now. And Reagan is still waiting. And Callisto on pit road right now as you see him just coming around the corner in that shot.
So Greg Evans is going to be the last one. We'll see how this shakes out. I think he might be coming. He's in now. So Greg Evans is going to put it on the pit road right as we anticipated, 123, 120, coming to 124. The leader is going to stop, and let's see how all this shakes out. So Callisto 2nd, Maul 3rd, Crow 4th, Rick D 5th, Matty Wagner, the stock car ace, is in 6th. A hard-charging Michael Goodman 7th. And Richie Hearn is going to round out the top 8.
There's Evans right there, coming to his stall, done. In the process of going through the final stop here, he stopped right when we figured he would, right about that neighborhood.
Where is he going to slide out?
Oh, good shot.
Where is he going to slide out? Here he comes. He's off pit road. He's on the apron. Don't get up on the banking. Keep it below the banking. You don't want to get an unsafe exit. Cross the blue line. Get up on the banking, and he is just out in front of Sam Crow. So Dean Darth Maul is going to have the lead, but a very tenuous one. 1.6 seconds.
But there's a lot of traffic there. But Greg Evans has really fresh tires. So can he hang on for our, and I don't think he can. We'll see. Here comes Evans.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Dean is throwing. He's got the water bottle out the window. The virtual roll bar padding is started to go. The gloves are coming off. Right, there's debris everywhere. It's raining.
It's raining. Yeah, there's oil. Callisto 158 flat purple lap.
Yeah, these guys are getting after it on those new tires. It's time to go. New leader, Greg Evans. And so that did not take long.
No, not at all.
A grand total of 2 laps.
Yep.
Before he has
Evans'
wave
last
goodbye
lap
to
of
Dean.
23.8.
Now, it may not be for the win, but Dean and Sam may have a shot at the podium here, because there's a huge gap between, first of all, Dean and Sam Crow, 1.4 seconds. There's a pretty big gap. But then from Sam, from Sam back to Lionel Callisto, it's 2.4 seconds.
Yep.
And then there's that whole lot of cars, Wagner and Goodman, or Goodman and Wagner, that are coming with Callisto. And so you wonder if Lionel and those guys think have enough time to get to Sam.
20 to go. We're watching Callisto right now as he starts getting now under 1.5 seconds to Crow. Here's Crow just appearing in your picture as we cut away, right there, bottom of your screen. Why is that doing that? There we go. Okay. And there he is to Crow, so he has made it to Crow.
Yep. So Lionel Callisto is going to get in it. Lionel Callisto going to get to Sam Crow. He's going to make very short work of him, and then probably within 3 laps he's going to be by Sam Crow.
Just turns right underneath him, but doesn't clear him yet. Now he's there as he keeps to the bottom side and turns 1 and 2. And not too far in front of him in the shot. Right there, you see that orange Havoline car as he's going into turn 3. That is his next target. I don't think he's going to have time to run down. Oh, ball into the wall. And that's going to make quick work for Callisto around Maul. Now, Maul might actually have time to try to run down Evans. It's a long way to go. A long way to go. There's Evans there.
Well, and
there's Callisto
he's not faster.
there.
Well, yes, he is. 4/10 on that last lap for Lionel Callisto. So he is faster. Maybe a little bit more in terms of raw pace. We'll see. 0.6 of a lap quicker that time. So he's got down to 3.2 seconds. Make that 3 seconds as they come off of turn 2.
There you see, we're riding on the roof of Callisto, and you can see that car as he's going around the corner, the car right in front of him. That is his target. It's getting slowly bigger. 2.5 now.
Michael Goodman has now made it around Sam Crow, so make him 4th. I would anticipate he will be 3rd here before too very much longer.
2.4 now to Evans.
You don't happen to have the Jaws music handy, do you?
Nothing that's royalty free that won't copyright ding us. So I guess we can just go womp 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 womp. 2.6, and he's in lap traffic. 136 of 150.
Yep.
And once again, if you're just joining us, this is Race First coverage of round 5 of 14 of the ISRA Xfinity Series, coming to you from Dover, where Greg Evans is currently looking to go back-to-back here in the series, is leading here in the late going at Dover. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so don't miss out on the next race, and don't forget your commentary team here. We do this for free for the ISRA. We live on your donations. So if you could donate to the program, certainly would appreciate it. The link is in the description to our GoFundMe. As it looks like now, Evans has said, you know what? Bye-bye. 2.8 seconds now pulling away.
Yeah, you wondered, Gary, if he was just kind of, again, playing possum. You know, I'm going to save my stuff. I'm going to let Lionel run his stuff off. As soon as I get around his lap traffic, I'll turn it back up again, which is what's happened. Callisto is still faster on that last lap, but it was 1/10 instead of half a second, which it had been previously. And now Callisto is in a mess of traffic. He's just got by Alex Guyon. He's got Mike Rigney and Richie Hearn right in front of him. And so the traffic is now not Lionel Callisto's friend either. Not that those guys aren't moving out of the way, because they are, but it's still, change the line, get out of gas sooner or later.
No, couldn't pick up the throttle as early as he wanted to because he had Richie to his outside.
Was down to 2. Now it's back down to 2.6 seconds, 2.5. So Lionel Callisto still coming.
10 to go. Well, it's going to be a good points day for Callisto. Evans only made his first start at our last race, looking to go 2 for 2 and starts for the season. But he's still a ways down in the standings right now to where Callisto and Goodman are. And this will just probably tighten up the battle a little bit more for Callisto and Goodman. But well, meanwhile, let's see where Matty Wagner is. Matty Wagner is stock car ace now, as we were calling him. He is to the deck lid now of the 28 for the bottom step of the podium. 8 laps to go.
Stock car talent finds stock car talent. So we've got Michael Goodman in the lead, being chased by Matt Wagner. 0.3 of a second between them. I'm watching from the gyro cam of Matty Wagner, and I'm looking at the black marks that Michael Wagner is laying down coming off the corner. 2 very different lines through 3 and 4. Matty right on the bottom. Michael Goodman kind of taking that diamonding line that we talked about earlier. But just 2 completely different philosophies. Both these guys have it hung out pretty hard. And I'm not kidding. You can look, if you go on board with Wagner, you can see Goodman's car laying black marks at the exit of every corner, which, according to Dan Gurney, would mean that he has plenty of horsepower in that machine. Right? You get enough power when you can lay black marks from the exit of one corner to the entry of the next. Right?
6 to go.
Plenty of power.
And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'll jinx this right now, but we have not seen a caution. Callisto with the purple lap. 1.6 seconds now back from Evans to Callisto.
I think we used up all of our caution allocation for the entire season in the last race, Gary.
So 5 to go, coming to 4 to go.
Series, of course, noted for its overabundance of long green flag runs, which we certainly as fans appreciate. And to be fair, that's what I am. I'm a fan. I just get a microphone instead of watching it like you fine folks at home. Both Wagner and Goodman got in the fence that time, at least on my screen, coming off at turn 4. Those two are after it. No sense in bringing any rubber back, I don't guess.
No. Use it all up. And next week we go from the Monster Mile to the Magic Mile. And New Hampshire, located in Loudon, about 20 minutes from where my aunt and uncle cousins live. I know that area pretty well. Lake Winnipesaukee. 3 to go.
Did that 3 times.
2 to go. Lake Winnipesaukee. It's a good time.
I've never been. I have been to the state, but I have never been to the racetrack in New Hampshire. Lap traffic, not Michael Goodman's friend there now. Matty Wagner, the stock car race. He is 2 tenths behind him. He's going to get there. Can he get there?
Down the backstretch cleanly, just a little lap traffic in front of him and getting ready to go 2 for 2. Greg Evans coming to the checker flag. Your winner here at the track, at the casino. Winner, chicken dinner. Greg Evans at Dover.
Casino, horse track, whatever it is, this scrap for 3rd and 4th has been tremendous, but the stock car race, Matty Wagner is going to get in the fence a little bit off the 4th.
And that's it.
He's not going to quite have the juice to do it. Yeah. That was some fun. That was fun watching those 2 boys go after it. They did not disappoint in that battle for 3rd.
Greg Evans, your winner.
Course
Dominant day, 104 laps led. Here's the key thing here is I'll circle this on the 0 cautions, 0 laps under cautions. Average lap time, and I'm going to get my dev to actually give me miles per hour this one too, but 24.4 was the average lap time. I don't know what that equates to, but I'm sure it might be some 1 mile track record here for this league for sure. Easily said as a record. Lionel Callisto up 9 spots. He did a 2-stopper as well. I think everybody subscribed to the 2-stopper, so that was no big secret there. But he did not lead any laps, but still managed to bring it home second, 2.1 seconds behind Evans. Goodman started up front, finished up front, led 34 laps, is third. Wagner brought her back from 6 spots deeper to fourth. Sam Crow is in 15. Darth Maul led 12 laps, improved even a spot no less, and finished 6th. Rick D finishes in 7th. Rigney finishes in 8th. Say Hey Lewis Hayes finished exactly where he started. Nice spot. So a good top 10 for him. Brian Grandin, he finishes 10th for his first start of the series, a top 10. Good on him. Richie Hearn, 11th. Alex Goyan, 12th. Chris Reagan, 13th. He did not have himself a good day. George Anzaldo, 14th. Pepto Joe had the disconnect at the front, and just there was no attrition here to help him out, really. And then later wrote in chat, sometimes things just don't go your way. Daggone it. And I understand that. Hugo Gallis with an early issue at lap 32, I believe, and ended his day for 16th.
Yeah, so that's the full field rundown here. Your podium: Greg Evans, Lionel Callisto, Michael Goodman. Looking to see if we've got any of them around. I do see Callisto. You want to bring him on up?
Can you grab him?
Yeah.
Can you grab him, bring him up?
Hey, Lionel, Mark and Gary up in the booth. Congratulations on a fine second place finish. Tell us about your run.
Just trying to be consistent, try not to destroy my right front tires, but that was the issue I had all race. Just on the long run, I just can't get the car to loosen up. It was just too tight on exit. Then it'll get loose, but yeah, I think it's a good race. Yeah, it was fun. I just couldn't keep up with Greg in the end.
Keep going. I'm just queuing up. I'm queuing up replays here real quick. So feel free to keep going there, Murph.
So right front, right rear. We saw all kinds of different lines. What was your thought on the short pit versus the long pit, and how did you arrive at going long?
I just try to stay out as long as possible, so I can get tires in the end, fresher tires. But yeah, I just wasn't fast enough on the long run. I was trying to catch up with Greg in the short medium run, but once he gets through the long stint, I can't keep up. I was just destroying my right front tires.
Well, you were definitely able to keep up on the short.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
you were definitely able to keep up on the short run. Purple lap. So you take that. Gary, you got anything for the?
Yeah, sure do. So not
step?
bad. As we know, we're getting now into the part of the season where points really begin to matter. As we're kind of in this very long stretch run here for about 10 consecutive weeks. Here we're going to be running every week, so points are going to matter. A good finish, you finish ahead of all your key rivals. Although I think really that your new key rival might be Greg Evans. Going forward, I don't know if the 5-race deficit that he kind of had, or the 3-race deficit he kind of has on everybody, is enough to kind of keep him at bay. What's the outlook going to next week at another 1 mile oval? It's just an entirely different 1 mile oval here at New Hampshire. What's your likelihood of doing something well there as well?
Just trying to be consistent, just try to finish top 5. I mean, anything could happen. I mean, I can easily lose the race, the next 3 races, but who knows? Yeah, I think Greg still has a chance to win this. Yeah, I have to finish top 10 or top 5 if I want to win this.
Well, before we let you go, shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors, teammates you want to say hi to, go right ahead. You earned it. Of course, you know the drill. You've been here before, so go right ahead.
Pretty much everybody's involved with this series. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
A man of few words. Well, we thank you, and then we will catch you at New Hampshire next.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Let's see. Who else? We got Evans and Goodman. I see Goodman in general chat. We'll bring him on up. Hey, Mike, you're here with Gary and Murph. Managed to hold off a hard charging Matt Wagner there at the end. I think both of you guys were racing really, really hard there at the end. I think both of you kind of pancaked the right side of your cars at one point. But talk about your race. You really seem to have pace all day to stick it out there, at least in the top three.
No, I had great pace. Obviously, it wasn't better than Greg or Lionel, but no, I was happy with the pace. On the second stint, I just struggled a little bit trying to get trying to pass cars and stuff like that, and that just destroyed my right front tire. And then on the last stint, I was just able to run my line and hold off Matt.
What were making those passes tough? Was it just conditions, people racing you harder because they know that you're coming up on them? Like, oh, Michael's here, he's a good driver, I'm going to race him harder. Or what was making that tough to get those passes pulled off in that second stint versus the third stint?
Well, the second stint, I had a lot more cars in front of me that I had to pass, and I was having a real hard time in turn 1 and 2 with the wind pushing my car up the track in the middle of the turn and stuff like that. So I know that did not help me a lot. But when I made my final pit stop and I looked at my tire where I only had 26%
oh, wow.
on that right front tire, and my right rear tire was 64%. So I was struggling as far as that second stint went.
Got anything for him, Murph?
Yeah, I gotta ask Michael, how many times did you either hit or get close to the turn 4 wall in that last run? Because it looked like you and Matt were both driving just about as hard as you could.
No, believe it or not, I'm probably going to say what you saw on your screen was not the same as on mine because, to be honest with you, I don't think I touched the wall at all. And,
wow! All right. Yeah, nice job then.
Yeah,
you guys are racing each other real. We saw real hard at the end there, so that's real good. I know Matt at least pancaked his side at least once for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say that the stock car race definitely hit it more than once, but that's probably why you're third and he was fourth. Keep it off the fence and keep it rolling forward, and heck of a nice job, Michael. You got any friends, family, sponsors, anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, I just want to give you and Gary thumbs up. Thank you very much for broadcasting these races. Mike Rigney for running the league and signing up all these drivers and stuff like that, and to all the competitors out there. We went caution free and made for a good race.
Well, congratulations, and we'll catch you at the Magic Mile next in New Hampshire.
I appreciate it. You guys have a great night.
You take care. And we'll bring up Greg here. Hey, Greg, got you in the booth here with Gary and Murph. 2 for 2 and starts here in the league. 2 starts, 2 wins. Is this going to be a regular thing? Tell us about your race.
I would say probably not. The more you race with the same guys, the more they kind of catch on and start getting better and better. So yeah, it was a tough battle. I wanted to kind of back off a little bit and kind of cruise for a while, and every time I did, Lionel would catch in a little bit, and I was like, "Dadgum, just give me a break here." But it was a really good race, though.
Well, talk about your first stint. Early in the first stint, you kind of gave up the lead, fell back a little bit. Was you just doing your pace, or you thought maybe that the guys that wanted by were just going to burn their gear up, and you already had it forecasted that you were going to pass him back here before the end of the first stint anyways?
Probably a little bit of both. I had a pace that I really wanted to stay at, and those guys just they wanted to go a little faster than I did at that time. I knew saving the right front especially was going to be a huge deal, and but I mean, you just never really know when you let somebody by, if they're really pushing it or if you're just not pushing it hard enough or what. But
Right.
it worked out. Got the lead back, and then we started going through the pit cycles, and I tried to stay out as long as I could, just in case a caution came out. And it seems like there's not going to be very many cautions in this league. It's a good thing.
That's true. It's true.
But yeah, it's a lot of good clean racing. I would rather it go caution free and just everything play out than have cautions, especially when you're leading. Now, if you're running second, I'd love a caution. But,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, everything just kind of played in our favor tonight, and just the poker chips fell where they may.
Murph, you got anything for him?
No, he answered my question. Heck of a run, heck of a win, and we look forward to seeing you next week, my friends.
Sounds good, guys. I really appreciate you guys broadcasting this, and thank Rigney for hosting it as well, and just thank Freightliner and Sim Labs and Sim Magic and Freightliner. I already said Freightliner, so. But
Get him again. What the heck?
Yeah. And like I said, thank you guys for broadcasting.
No problem.
When these races are broadcast, it makes it a whole lot more special. And you can go back and watch them the next day and kind of learn a little bit too. So thank you guys.
No problem. Our pleasure. Well, congratulations on the win. And of course, he already knows the procedure. He already did the shout out, so we didn't have to tell him. That's been here 2 weeks in a row now. He knows now. So we'll catch you next week in New Hampshire.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
See ya. And the new points are up. I don't have a graphic yet, but Lionel Callisto is your leader with 185 points. 3 points behind him is Michael Goodman. So Goodman lost the point lead, or he was actually tied for the point lead, but now he's properly in second here at 182 points. Matt Wagner is in third with 180 points. Sam Crow is in fourth with 177 points. So the spread between fourth and first is still less than 10 points. No reaction. No reaction.
No, I mean, it's what you expect from a league of this caliber. You're going to see different guys, a little bit quicker at different tracks. You're going to see guys go on hot streaks and win a couple 3 in a row. You're going to see a lot, and I do mean a lot, of green flag racing. Mm-hmm. Kind of interested to see what we see next week. So we're trading perhaps one of the fastest miles, maybe the fastest mile oval in the United States for one of the slowest miles, New Hampshire. Up next week. So instead of high banks and narrow, we're going to have flat and wide, and these cars will have a choice of 5 different lanes that they can go through. So it'll be interesting to see, does Greg Evans, does his dominance from Charlotte and Dover carry over to New Hampshire, or are we going to see, somebody like Lionel Callisto go back to victory lane? We're going to see, stock car ace Matty Wagner break through, maybe. Michael Goodman goes to victory lane. Plenty of choices at the sharp end of this grid for guys that can go through and win a race. And I'm interested to see how the different track type plays into it. New Hampshire is extremely unique. There's another flat mile, of course, Milwaukee. We go from the Monster Mile to the Magic Mile, but unfortunately no Milwaukee Mile. It's scheduling oversight from Mike, maybe next year. Put the 3
I think we've had our fill with the 1 mile ovals for after a couple.
We can have a month of miles, but nevertheless, interested to see how that plays. Again, I continue to marvel at the caution-free aspect of the series and the different pit strategies. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I'm ready. Bring on New Hampshire. Bring on 10 weeks in a row. How about that?
Yeah, I think we are 10 weeks in a row. Just double checking the schedule here. But yeah, It's off to at New Hampshire, then Atlanta, then Kansas, then Bristol. So then we go a real short track race in there. Then Michigan and Las Vegas, Darlington, Homestead. And then they're going to finish with a wild one at Talladega August 5th. And that will be the end. But we got a long ways to go before we get there. The points, other thing that I want to point out with the points here before we get on out of here. Sam Crow is 4th. Rick D with a very quiet top 5 here in the points. 142 points. He's distanced from the top 4, but he's 2 points better than Dean Darth Ball in 6th. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, another quiet ascension here into the top 10. He's 7th. Pepto Joe probably had the worst day of the group here. Down 3 spots, now to 8th. Richie Hearn up 2 to 9th. And Mike Rigney has cracked into the top 10. The bottom portion of the top 10 from Rigney up to Flanagan is also very thin. In fact, from Rigney up to Hayes is less than 10. Or excuse me, 12 points. 12 points, yeah. So it's very tight, even the low portion of the top 10. So everybody has something to fight for here going into this stretch run. So that's going to do it for tonight. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let's get the podium and my closing script, and let's get on out of here. I can find my closing script. You know, I should just record myself instead of repeating it all the time.
You should.
I should. So that's it tonight. Once again,
I think.
Go ahead.
I think we have the equipment to make that work.
I'm sure I have the equipment to make that work. But I do have to say, once again, your podium for tonight is Greg Evans, second win in the row. Lionel Callisto finishing, as always, very consistent here on another podium. And Michael Goodman with another podium maintains a good spot in the points championship. This is where I need to let the recording go. But thanks. Join Racers again for round 6 of the ISRA Xfinity Series as teams and drivers head to the Magic Mile in Loudon, New Hampshire. Coverage begins around 9:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's 9:35 p.m. Eastern. As always, for the correct time in your area, you can find everything here on YouTube at youtube.com/RaceFirst. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support RaceFirst with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know your thought of tonight's race. And to all those who participated in chat, thank you very much. We appreciate your interactions. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you are new, click subscribe. And I've been watching analytics. 40% of you that watch. Don't make me bring this graph up that I used to do back in the day when I was trying to get 1,000 subscriptions. We're now almost coming up on 1,300. But I used to do the old 40% of you are watching that aren't subscribing. Don't make me do it. I can see I can see the stats. Just subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button and ring the bell while you're at it, so you don't miss out on future races. You'd be doing us a huge favor if you do that. Track cams provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Thank you to Whiplash Sim Cams for being the official camera provider for RaceFirst. To learn more about Whiplash, follow them on Twitter at WSimCams today, or follow them on the link in the description. Keep your browser set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge in all of iRacing. RaceFirst, we know what it means. For business inquiries, learn more about RaceFirst and what we do, visit racefirst.com, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. And right here at the bottom of the screen, there are our Twitter handles. Go ahead and follow us, would you? So, for the Murph, everyone at RaceFirst, I'm Gary Gotzel said all. Good night. Thanks for watching. To all our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here next week in New Hampshire for the next race of the ISRA Xfinity Series. Good night.